Last night on Jimmy Kimmel, what started as a normal celebrity interview erupted into chaos when host Jimmy Kimmel and beloved actor Danny DeVito clashed on live TV. Kimmel's personal attacks pushed DeVito to his breaking point, leaving the audience stunned as the Hollywood legend defended himself before security stepped in. The bright lights of the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio shone down on the glossy stage as the audience cheered wildly. The famous blue and purple set was buzzing with excitement as Danny DeVito, wearing a simple gray suit and his trademark smile, waddled onto the stage. He waved to the crowd, who loved him for his funny roles in movies and his kind personality. "Please welcome the one, the only Danny DeVito," Jimmy Kimmel announced, standing up from behind his wooden desk. The crowd clapped and whistled as the short actor made his way to the guest chair. The two men shook hands, and at first, everything seemed normal. Kimmel smiled his TV host smile, and DeVito settled into the comfortable chair across from him. "Danny, it's great to have you here," Kimmel said, shuffling his blue cards. "You're here to talk about your new movie, The Last Laugh, right?" DeVito nodded enthusiastically. "That's right, Jimmy. I'm really proud of this one. It's about an older comedian who can't get work anymore because no one thinks he's funny," Kimmel cut in with a smirk. "Sounds like art imitating life." The audience let out an uncomfortable "ooh," not sure if this was part of the usual joking or something meaner. DeVito's smile faltered for just a second, but he kept his cool. "Well, actually, it's about finding your voice again and connecting with a younger generation," DeVito explained calmly. "It's a story about respect and—" "Respect?" Kimmel interrupted again, his voice taking on a sharper edge. "Speaking of respect, I heard you were pretty difficult on set. My sources tell me you showed up late most days and made everyone wait around." The crowd went quiet. This wasn't the usual friendly banter they expected. The camera cut to DeVito, who looked surprised by the sudden attack. "That's not true at all, Jimmy," DeVito said, sitting up straighter in his chair. "I've been in this business for over 50 years. I always respect the crew and show up ready to work." Kimmel shrugged dramatically. "That's not what I heard. But, hey, maybe at your age, it's hard to remember to set an alarm." More uncomfortable murmurs came from the audience. Some people even booed quietly. The camera panned to show some confused faces in the crowd. DeVito took a deep breath. "Look, Jimmy, I came here to talk about the movie. If you've got a problem with me, maybe we should have talked about it before the show." "No problem," Kimmel said with a fake smile. "Just making conversation. So this movie, aren't you worried people won't believe you as the lead anymore? I mean, when was your last hit? Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s? The studio grew tenser. DeVito's friendly expression was gone now, replaced with determination. "Jimmy, I've had a long career with many successful projects. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has been running for years and people love it. But more importantly, why are you attacking me like this? This isn't how professionals behave." Kimmel leaned forward. "Oh, come on, Danny, can't take a joke. Isn't that what you do for a living? Make people laugh? Though I guess people are laughing at you more than with you these days." The audience gasped. This was getting ugly fast. A producer could be seen at the edge of the stage, looking worried and making cutting motions with his hand, trying to get Kimmel to stop. "You know what, Jimmy?" DeVito said, his voice calm but firm. "I've been in this industry long enough to recognize when someone's trying to get cheap laughs at someone else's expense. Is your show doing that badly that you need to create drama?" The audience erupted in a mix of oohs and clapping. Some people even stood up, cheering for DeVito standing his ground. Kimmel's face turned slightly red. "My show is doing just fine. Unlike your movie, which I hear is heading straight to streaming because the studio lost faith in it." DeVito shook his head, disappointment clear on his face. "That's also not true. The movie is getting a full theatrical release, and the early reviews have been very positive. But here's what I don't understand. Why are you doing this? We've known each other for years. I thought we were friends. Friends? Kimmel scoffed. In Hollywood? Come on, Danny. You've been around long enough to know there are no real friends here. Just people using each other to stay relevant. And let's be honest, you need this appearance more than I need you on my show. The crowd was now openly booing Kimmel. A woman in the front row shouted, "Be nice to Danny!" Others joined in, showing support for the beloved actor. DeVito stayed composed, though his hands gripped the arms of his chair tightly. You know what, Jimmy? This is disappointing. I've been on your show many times over the years, and I've always respected you as a host. But this isn't right. What's not right is pretending you're still a big star, Kimmel shot back, seemingly unable to stop himself. The truth is, Danny, Hollywood has moved on. You're yesterday's news. The only reason people remember you is because of memes online. The audience was in full revolt now, with many people standing up and showing their support for DeVito. The show's band leader looked uncomfortable, exchanging worried glances with the musicians. I think we're done here, DeVito said finally, starting to get up from his chair. I came here to promote a movie I'm proud of, not to be insulted. Sit down, Danny, Kimmel said sharply. The interview's not over until I say it's over. That's how this works. My show, my rules. DeVito paused, halfway out of his seat. The tension in the studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. The commercial break was still minutes away, and everyone could tell this train wreck was going to get worse before it got better. No, Jimmy, DeVito said, standing up fully now. I don't think you understand how respect works. I've been in this business since before you were born, and I've never been treated this badly on a talk show. The crowd cheered loudly for DeVito, many on their feet. What are you going to do? Walk out? Kimmel taunted, also standing up now. Go ahead. It'll be the most attention you've gotten in years. DeVito's eyes narrowed as he stared at Kimmel. The studio went completely silent. You could hear a pin drop as everyone waited to see what would happen next. You know what, Jimmy? You're right about one thing. This will get attention, DeVito said, his voice steady but full of emotion. But not for the reasons you think. People will see how you treat your guests, how you try to make yourself look big by making others look small. Kimmel's face flushed deeper red. Oh, please, it's just entertainment. Lighten up. Maybe if you weren't so sensitive, your career wouldn't be in the trash. Several audience members gasped. A few people started walking out of the studio in disgust. My career is just fine, DeVito replied, standing his ground. But your reputation might not be after tonight. Is this how you want to be remembered? As the guy who bullies people on his show? The show's producer was now frantically signaling to go to commercial break, but Kimmel ignored him. You want to talk about bullying? Kimmel said, his voice rising. Let's talk about how you've been riding on your fame from the 80s and 90s. Let's talk about how you've been taking roles from younger, more talented actors who actually deserve them. The audience booed loudly. Someone shouted, Shame on you. Jimmy? DeVito shook his head sadly. You know, I expected better from you. I thought you were one of the good ones in this business. He took a step away from the chair, clearly intending to leave. Where do you think you're going? Kimmel demanded, stepping out from behind his desk. This is my show, and I decide when we're done. Not anymore, DeVito replied. I decide when I've had enough disrespect, and I've had enough. The tension between the two men was electric. The camera operators zoomed in on their faces, capturing every detail of the confrontation for millions of viewers at home. You leave this stage, and you'll never be invited back, Kimmel threatened, pointing his finger at DeVito. DeVito smiled for the first time since the interview turned sour. That sounds like a promise, not a threat. The audience erupted in cheers for DeVito. Many were on their feet, applauding his bravery and standing up to Kimmel. You think anyone cares if you walk out? Kimmel said, his voice growing louder to be heard over the crowd. Nobody's going to. Remember Danny DeVito in 10 years? Maybe not, DeVito replied calmly. But they'll remember how you treated me tonight. And that's on you, Jimmy. Not me. Two security guards appeared at the edge of the stage, looking unsure about what to do. The producer was now frantically waving his arms, desperately trying to get Kimmel's attention to end the segment. "Oh, what's this? You're calling security on me now?" DeVito asked, noticing the guards. "That's Rich. I'm the one being attacked here." "Nobody's attacking you," Kimmel snapped. "Stop playing the victim. This is what's wrong with Hollywood today. Everyone's so sensitive." DeVito took another step toward the exit. "I'm not playing anything. I'm simply refusing to be your punching bag." The crowd was getting louder, with many people shouting support for DeVito and criticism at Kimmel. The situation was spiraling out of control. "You know what?" Kimmel said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Let's talk about your real legacy. Danny, let's talk about all those weird, creepy characters you've played. Is that really what you want to be remembered for? Being the strange little man in movies?" The audience gasped collectively. This was beyond the pale, even for late-night TV. DeVito stopped in his tracks and turned to face Kimmel one more time. His expression was calm, but his eyes blazed with righteous anger. "Jimmy, I've played all kinds of characters in my career. Good ones, bad ones, funny ones, sad ones. That's what actors do. We tell stories. But right now, you're the one playing a character. The mean-spirited bully who thinks putting others down makes him look good. And let me tell you, it's not a good look." The audience exploded in applause, practically drowning out the end of DeVito's statement. Kimmel seemed momentarily stunned by the response. "If you can't respect me as a person," DeVito continued, "at least respect your audience enough to conduct a professional interview. They deserve better than this. They came to be entertained, not to watch you try to humiliate someone." Kimmel's producer was now physically on stage, standing just out of camera shot, desperately trying to signal for a commercial break. "Don't lecture me about professionalism," Kimmel retorted, his voice taking on an ugly edge. "You're the one who's about to run away from an interview." "What's professional about that?" DeVito stood tall, despite his small stature. "Walking away from abuse isn't unprofessional, Jimmy. It's called self-respect, something you might want to look into." The crowd was now completely on DeVito's side, with many people standing and applauding. Some were even chanting his name. "Danny! Danny! Danny!" Kimmel realized he was losing control of the situation. He tried a different approach, forcing a laugh. "Come on, everyone, it's just a joke. We're all having fun here, right?" But nobody was laughing. The atmosphere in the studio was electric with tension. "No, Jimmy, we're not having fun," DeVito said firmly. "And making someone the butt of cruel jokes isn't entertainment. It's bullying." One of the security guards stepped onto the stage, moving toward DeVito. The other approached Kimmel, likely trying to defuse the situation. "Sir, maybe we should take a break," the guard said to Kimmel quietly. But the microphones picked it up. Kimmel waved him away angrily. "I don't need a break. This is my show." The guard near DeVito spoke into his radio, clearly calling for backup. The producer had given up on signals and was now on stage, approaching Kimmel. "We need to cut to commercial," the producer said urgently. "Now, Jimmy." "Not until we finish this interview," Kimmel insisted, pointing at DeVito again. "You don't get to decide when this ends." DeVito looked at the security guard beside him. "I think it's time for me to leave." The guard nodded sympathetically. "I'll escort you out, sir." This seemed to enrage Kimmel even more. "So that's it? You're just going to walk out? What about your movie promo? That's why you came here, right? To use my platform?" DeVito paused and looked directly at the main camera. "To everyone watching at home, my new movie, The Last Laugh, opens this Friday. It's about an older comedian who stands up for himself against a system that treats people as disposable." He smiled warmly. I think tonight has been quite the promotion. For that message. The audience roared with approval, many giving DeVito a standing ovation. Kimmel's face turned even redder. You can't just address my audience directly. This isn't your show, Kimmel shouted. But his voice was nearly drowned out by the crowd's reaction. Two more security guards appeared. One headed toward Kimmel, while the others flanked DeVito protectively. I think we all see who the real professional is here, DeVito said calmly. Goodbye, Jimmy. I truly hope you reflect on this moment. As DeVito turned to leave with the security guards, Kimmel made one last desperate attempt to regain control. He rushed forward, as if to physically stop DeVito from leaving. We're not done here, Kimmel yelled. Instantly, the security guards stepped between them. One of them put his hand on Kimmel's chest, stopping him firmly. Sir, please step back, the guard said in a serious tone. The audience gasped at this unexpected escalation. Some people started recording the scene with their phones, knowing they were witnessing something historic in late-night television. Kimmel looked around wildly, suddenly seeming to realize how bad this all looked. The cameras were still rolling. His producer was shouting for someone to cut the feed. The audience was firmly against him. And Danny DeVito was walking away with dignity, escorted by security that Kimmel's own staff had called. In that moment, something seemed to break in Kimmel. His shoulders slumped slightly. Fine. Go, he said, his voice suddenly tired. We'll go to commercial. As DeVito reached the edge of the stage, the audience began to clap rhythmically, showing their support. Many were on their feet, some even moving toward the stage as if to follow him out. DeVito turned once more to wave to the crowd. His face was calm, his posture straight and dignified. He hadn't raised his voice once during the entire confrontation, yet he had commanded the room completely. The network finally cut to commercial, but not before millions of viewers at home saw something unprecedented. A beloved actor standing up to a talk show bully and walking away with his head held high, while the host stood alone on stage, abandoned by both his guest and the audience's goodwill. Outside the studio, DeVito was met by his team. His publicist looked worried, but DeVito reassured her with a gentle pat on the arm. Don't worry, he said with a small smile. Some things are more important than publicity. As they walked to the waiting car, DeVito's phone started buzzing non-stop. Social media was already exploding with the hashtag #InTeamDeVito, and clips of the confrontation were going viral faster than anyone could have imagined. By morning, the incident would be the top story on every entertainment news show. Kimmel's reputation would take a serious hit, while DeVito would be celebrated for his grace under pressure and his unwillingness to be bullied, even by one of television's most powerful hosts. And as for The Last Laugh, the film would go on to have the biggest opening weekend of DeVito's career. Sometimes life really does imitate art. But that night, as DeVito's car pulled away from the studio, he wasn't thinking about box office numbers or social media trends. He was thinking about something his father had told him long ago. Always. Stand up for yourself, Danny. No job, no amount of fame, no opportunity is worth giving up your self-respect. Tonight, he had done exactly that.